So it's official, Orochi, the biggest rat in One Piece. Shonen Ouji here to dig deeper into your favorite anime and manga, and in this video I'm going to continue another review of another great flashback from Wano. So with that out of the way, let's get into this review of chapter 961. Now, before I get to Orochi, I need to talk about Kinemon and everything that happened with him in this chapter. Now, if you watch my last video, you'll see that I really liked what they did with Kinemon in the last chapter. How he kind of starts from like being a scumbag and then to how we know him now. And this is continued in this chapter because we know that he's like kind of a lowlife. He's a criminal. He's a degenerate. We know that he's a big pervert. But he has this friendship with Tsuru. And when this whole thing with the boar is going on, and the guy he originally stole the boar from comes out of nowhere and tells him that they held Tsuru captive and the boar ate Tsuru, and Kinemon freaks out. And not that he wasn't already humanized, but this is like a very tender moment for Kinemon. So as soon as Kinemon finds out about Tsuru, he charges the boar. But we see a shot with Oden where he's just sitting there quietly. And this doesn't add a ton to his character, but I like that he's just sitting back patiently and watching Kinemon. It shows like a more thoughtful side to Oden than we've seen, because all we've seen of him previously is just that he's a bad dude, he's a scumbag, he's just doing whatever he wants, eating a hot pot. But I like this patient side to him. But we see Kinemon charge in, and we see these like flashbacks with Tsuru. And again, I've never disliked Kinemon, but this relationship with Tsuru is really good for him. Like, I love what Oda is doing with Kinemon, his origin, and his relationship with Tsuru. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say this is like my favorite couple in anime, but I like this couple because we're seeing Kinemon as like this, like, it's like a Beauty and the Beast type thing. Tsuru is seeing like the good in Kinemon, so she covers for him, even though when they're together, she like bags on him, tells him like how much of a loser he is. But we see that she was paying his gambling. If he was stealing, she would pay for it. They're really good friends. We know that from the last chapter. And then we see these two shots where she tells him to get a real job. But then she says, if you don't, you're going to die. Like, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to die eventually. You're going to die like a dog. And we see a really defining moment from Kinemon, which is, he says, well, good, because nobody cares if I'm going to die anyway. Which, like, if you've watched, like, any romantic movie ever, this is, like, the moment, and they don't show it. Oda doesn't show it, but this is the moment where Tsuru would be like, well, I would care. And I kind of like that they don't show it, because Tsuru is supposed to be, like, the rock of that relationship. Like, she's supposed to be, like, the mature one, so for her to be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I like that we don't see it. But this is what we see from Kinemon, and I couldn't be happier that this is how this flashback is going. And it sets up nicely for what I'm about to say next. So, we see Oden step in after Kinemon gets his butt kicked by the boar. And let me just start this part by saying, I don't know if Oden is more like Luffy or Zoro. Now, you might have no idea what I'm talking about, but let me just say, Oden is being set up like a straw hat. And what I mean by that is, we see that Oden, like I said in my last video, Oden does not subscribe to like the like collective mindset. Like, he's his own person. Like Luffy, like the other straw hats, he lives life according to his own sense of right and wrong, his own sense of etiquette, of like when you should do something, when you shouldn't do something. He doesn't care about like social pride. He doesn't care about like social norms. He's just going to do what he wants to do. So we see him take the blame for the whole boar incident, which I think speaks well to this idea that he just doesn't give a crap about anything. He's just going to be who he is, and he's just going to do what he wants to do. And what he wants to do here is help out Kinemon, save the city, and kill this boar. So I could not tell if he's more like Luffy or Zoro, because he's got this goofy side to him, but we see when he attacks the boar with his two-sword style attack, he's got like this very cold, badass side to him, which these elements are present in Luffy and Zoro, but some of them are more Zoro-like, some of them are more Luffy-like. So it feels like Oda just kind of took the best parts of Zoro and Luffy and made Oden. But I just have to say, the fact that he put Oden in his attack style, I get that his name isn't like a name and it's food, so like he's putting like Oden, the hot pot, in his attack, but his name is Oden. Like, really? He put his name in his attack. Like, you know Oden is a bad dude when he's so, like, cool. He put his name in his attack name. Like, this just shows that Oden is so over-the-top ridiculous, and I love it. So, after the scene where Oden kills the boar, we see that everyone's kind of just thinking to themselves, like, wow, Oden is so cool, we should go thank him. But they know they can't say out loud because, one, he's like a scumbag, and two, he caused the scene. So we're seeing, like a Straw Hat, whenever they save somebody, the people know that they should probably be cool with Oden and that he's like a good guy for the most part, but they know that if they acknowledge him, they're like gonna be an outsider like him. And I haven't really been calling him an outsider, but he is clearly an outsider. We see with the scene where he's being exiled, where he's being disowned, he takes this exile, the little letter, and he waves it like a badge of honor, and he points it to the castle, to his father, and he holds it up in the sky, shouts so that everyone can hear him, and he says, "This is like you guys are saying that you can't handle me." Most people would get exiled from a city and have a walk of shame. He has like a walk of pride, like it's like an Oden pride march. And again, I've been saying it over and over again. Oden is like a straw hat. He knows who he is. And he's clearly an outsider because he doesn't subscribe to like the common thinking of society. So it's like he has to be kicked out because he's so against like common thinking that, like he says, like the people of Wano cannot handle him. So I actually like that he's being exiled, and I don't think it hurts him as a character. I like that he is physically and metaphorically an outsider of the people of Wano. And so finally, I'm getting to it. We need to talk about Orochi. Now, I know, you flipped out like I did when you saw that Orochi is working for Yasue. Now, it seemed like the impression is that Orochi was like maybe an orphan or like a peasant, and this is not a theory, this is just my guess, right? Okay, it's technically a theory, but this is like headcanon. This is bro science, so take this for what you want. My theory is that Orochi was definitely like not a noble. Like he had to have come from nowhere because it would make sense for like his twisted character for somebody to like come from nowhere, like literally like from nowhere, but also like from outside the like establishment of Wano and like usurp the throne. It would make sense for him to be this like, for lack of better terms, like rags to riches, like coming from nowhere outside of Wano, usurping the throne, like kind of like an FU to the establishment, to the nobles, to Oden and his family. So I'm not so hyped about the scene, like by the reveal. It was a big reveal, but what like really gets me worked up about this scene is we see that Orochi like wasn't that like powerful, I guess, which he doesn't give off like a powerful lot. Like, I don't know. When I first met Orochi, he seemed like a stupid character, but we're seeing more and more that there's more layers to Orochi. So I'm liking his character more and more as I see him because of like the mystery around him. Because we don't know. Like, we get, obviously he like got rid of Oden, and okay, just by default, I guess he's the Shogun now because he killed Oden. But my question is, I really want to see what his master plan was, because Yasue doesn't seem like a stupid guy. So, I don't know. It stinks that we're on break, because I'm really curious to see. I'm sure everything with Oden is going to be great. Obviously, I love the Oden story. I love Kinemon. But I'm dying to see how Orochi, the biggest rat in One Piece, who I went from hating just because I thought he was a stupid character, to now I hate because I know he's got something scheming. I'm really dying to see how the heck he pulls off taking down this great Oden. And unfortunately, that is it for this review. I know there's a lot more to talk about, but those were the big things that I needed to talk about. Now, if you enjoyed what I had to say in this video, make sure you give it a like. It really does help out. Make sure you comment, because I really do like hearing everyone's thoughts about the chapters. Make sure you follow me on Twitter so you can follow me as I read the chapters and as I watch shows like Hunter x Hunter. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see when my new content is released. Thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.